$750,000. Pause and let that number sink in. That's not just a number. It's a full-blown alarm bell that just ripped the veil off Kody and Robyn Brown's financial nightmare, exposing it to the entire world. For months, fans have speculated, whispered, and wondered about the true state of the Browns' finances. But now, we have confirmation, and it is worse than anyone could have imagined. Kody and Robyn, once the picture-perfect survivors of the sister-wives saga, the couple who appeared untouchable in the reality TV spotlight, are now forced to lean on their own home to scrape together $750,000. This isn't strategic investing. This isn't long-term planning. This is survival in its rawest, most desperate form. Their Flagstaff home, once a sanctuary, has become a financial lifeboat, and the lifeboat is leaking fast. Sources close to the Browns reveal that this isn't some calculated move or clever maneuver. It's an emergency, a last-ditch grab for cash, when every other door has slammed shut. One insider described it bluntly. They are robbing Peter to pay Paul, and eventually, the cycle catches up. Let's be clear, these are people who have earned substantial TLC paychecks for over a decade, living in the public eye, cultivating the image of wealth and stability, and yet, they are now forced to borrow against their primary residence. That contrast is staggering. Remember Coyote Pass? The sprawling land Kody once boasted about, promising a home for each wife, a legacy for the family, a polygamist paradise built on dreams and ambition? That vision isn't just fading, it has imploded entirely. Kody now stands with one wife, mountains of apparent debt, and a $750,000 home equity line that paints a bleak picture. They cannot even cover their immediate obligations without gambling their property. Timing is everything. This move did not happen in isolation. Legal pressures, rumors of lawsuits, and mounting tension from family and business associates have created a perfect storm. This isn't about keeping up appearances or maintaining a lavish lifestyle. It's about defending themselves from very real threats. That $750,000 equity line? It suddenly makes sense when you consider who might be coming for them, and the stakes are astronomical. But here's the kicker. The reasons behind this desperate move are even more shocking than the amount itself. Insiders reveal that Kody and Robyn's monthly burn rate is jaw-dropping. Bills piling, obligations mounting, and the pressure of keeping the family afloat has pushed them to the brink. Securing a home equity line is more than a financial decision. It's a gamble with everything they own. Fail to repay, and it's not just letters and warnings. The bank takes the house. Kody and Robyn are betting that they can somehow generate enough income to cover $750,000 plus interest, a gamble few would dare take given their track record. Sources say this equity line is recent, obtained amid swirling rumors of the Browns' financial collapse. It was not the first choice, it was the last. Watching this unfold is like watching someone max out their last credit card before the bank cuts them off completely. The desperation is palpable, and even industry insiders are asking, how long can this hold? Legal pressures are intensifying, and whispers suggest that a large portion of this money is earmarked for defense costs. Let's translate that. When you need $750,000 just to potentially fight legal battles, these aren't minor disputes. They are serious allegations from powerful adversaries who are ready to go all the way. The Brown family drama has left reality TV sets and entered real courtrooms. And the bills? They're coming due. So, how did it come to this? How did a family that once seemed invincible, that once painted visions of wealth, unity, and legacy, find themselves strapped to the edge of financial collapse, forced to gamble the very foundation of their lives to survive? The answer is messy, complicated, and frankly, explosive. And the fallout is just beginning. Insiders point to a toxic mix of factors that collided to create this perfect financial storm. Robyn's spending habits have long been a topic of speculation, and sources claim she has maintained a lifestyle that far exceeds the Browns' actual income. We're not just talking about the occasional splurge. Allegedly, her expenses for home decor, child care assistance, personal maintenance, and indulgences would make most families stop and gasp. Layer that with Kody's reported failed investment ventures and the dramatic decline in their TLC earning power, and you have the perfect recipe for financial disaster. This isn't theory. This is the reality that insiders say has been unfolding behind the polished cameras of Flagstaff. Even the Flagstaff property itself tells part of the story. When Kody and Robyn purchased this home, they reportedly paid a premium in a market that has since experienced significant fluctuation. Real estate experts tracking the Browns warn that the home may not even be worth what they owe on it. Add in the original mortgage plus this new $750,000 equity line, and suddenly they could be underwater on the very property they're now treating as their lifeline. The irony is staggering. This was supposed to be their fresh start, a way out of the Las Vegas complications, a home where they could finally build their life. But instead, the equity line is not just about maintaining a lifestyle or covering daily expenses. It's about weathering a looming legal storm that insiders say demanded access to cash fast. The Browns' income structure has transformed drastically over the past few years, and the numbers are unforgiving. When Sister Wives featured 4 wives for households and the constant whirlwind of plural family drama, the show delivered significant ratings and, more importantly, substantial paychecks. But that golden era has faded. The reality now? Fewer resources, bigger obligations, and a family financial machine that has seemingly ground to a halt. The stark contrast between the Browns' former TV glory and their current financial struggles could not be more dramatic. This is not just a story about numbers. It's a story of legacy unraveling, dreams collapsing, and a family forced to scramble for survival while the cameras are off. The home that was meant to symbolize hope has become a financial pressure cooker, and the clock is ticking. Industry insiders estimate that at their peak, the Browns were collectively raking in hundreds of thousands of dollars per season. But here's the brutal truth Kody and Robyn are now facing. With Mary, Janelle, and Christine out of the picture, the entire value proposition of the show has collapsed. Let's be honest, Sister Wives isn't what it used to be. It is no longer a show about the unique challenges of plural marriage. Now, it's essentially a documentary chronicling a failed family experiment, featuring a man who drove away 3 of his 4 wives, paired with a woman who, insiders claim, is spending faster than TLC can print checks. Sources inside the television industry say ratings have plummeted, with viewers losing interest in Kody and Robyn's monogamous situation compared to the original plural family drama. One insider put it bluntly, it's like trying to sell someone a pizza with all the toppings removed. The core appeal? Gone. With the original 4-household dynamic gone, the financial burden that once spread across multiple streams now rests entirely on Kody and Robyn's shoulders, and according to sources, those shoulders are buckling. Mary, Janelle, and Christine once brought storylines, conflicts, and tension that translated directly into ratings and revenue. Without them, Kody and Robyn must carry the entire show, and the market has devalued their contribution drastically. Then there's the matter of Robyn's spending. Rumors have circulated for years, but sources close to the family now suggest she's maintained a lifestyle far beyond their actual income. Professional home decor services, multiple forms of childcare, even as the children have grown, and personal expenses that would strain a far larger household budget. One source described it perfectly. Champagne taste on a beer budget, except now they don't even have the beer budget anymore. The disconnect between Robyn's expenditures and the family's income is reportedly a major source of tension inside the home. Kody's track record hasn't helped either. Over the years, he's pursued business ventures that have consistently fallen flat. Failed jewelry businesses, abandoned real estate dreams, and a string of entrepreneurial flops have left the family haunted by outstanding debts. Sources suggest that part of this $750,000 home equity line is covering obligations from years of financial mismanagement. But this equity line isn't just about lifestyle maintenance or past mistakes. It's about a brewing legal storm. The threats emerging against Kody and Robyn are far more serious than the average fan realizes. Sources indicate that these potential lawsuits could involve former family members with axes to grind. Think about that for a second. The very people Kody spent years alienating, dismissing, and publicly criticizing may now be coming for him in court. When you consider the possible legal defense costs, suddenly that $750,000 line makes a lot more sense. Add in business deals gone wrong, tangled LLCs, unclear ownership stakes, and verbal agreements that were never formalized. Sources describe the situation as a litigation goldmine, waiting for anyone feeling wronged. And it doesn't stop there. Potential defamation or slander claims loom as well. Kody and Robyn have publicly made statements about their former sister wives over the past few seasons, some pointed, some damning, and sources say those words could come back to haunt them in court. This is no longer reality TV drama. It's real-world financial and legal chaos, and Kody and Robyn are right in the middle of it. Legal experts warn that when public figures make specific factual claims about other public figures, they're stepping into dangerous territory. If those claims turn out to be false, misleading, or unprovable, liability follows quickly. And Kody Brown? He's been extraordinarily candid in recent interviews and episodes about Mary, Janelle, and Christine. That transparency or arrogance, depending on how you see it, could come back to haunt him in a courtroom. Contract disputes add another layer of danger. For over a decade, the Browns operated as a plural family with countless agreements about money, property, and responsibilities. These were presumably informal, verbal, or loosely documented arrangements. Now that the family has fractured, any of those agreements could explode into legal claims. Sources suggest that at least one former wife is actively consulting attorneys about enforcing agreements Kody allegedly made but failed to honor. The specifics are murky, but the potential financial consequences are massive. What makes this even more dangerous is the perfect storm of legal exposure and limited resources. Fighting lawsuits isn't cheap. Win or lose, the costs pile up: attorney fees, court filings, discovery, expert witnesses. And when you're already borrowing against your home just to stay afloat, prolonged litigation could be catastrophic. One source described it as death by 1,000 paper cuts, forced to fight multiple battles on multiple fronts, with every cut draining resources and energy. And there's one name that keeps surfacing in connection to these legal threats, a name tied to the longest relationship and perhaps the deepest grievances: Mary Brown. Her departure from the family was anything but clean or simple. Sources suggest she holds leverage that Kody and Robyn would do almost anything to suppress. For over 3 decades, Mary was legally married to Kody before their divorce, a sacrifice designed to allow Robyn to gain legal protections for adoption purposes. Pause and think about that for a moment. She gave up her legal status, her rights as his wife, so that Robyn could step in. And how was she repaid? With emotional distance, public humiliation, and eventual total rejection. Now, insiders hint that the past is circling back. Mary may have the power to make Kody and Robyn pay, not just in court, but in a way that could shatter the fragile financial and personal stability they've been desperately clinging to. The $750,000 home equity line suddenly feels less like a safety net and more like a high-stakes gamble against time, money, and one of the most complex legal webs in reality TV history. If anyone has motivation to make Kody's life difficult, Mary Brown sits at the very top of that list. For months, fan communities have buzzed with rumors about non-disclosure agreements, and sources now suggest there may be truth behind the speculation. Allegedly, Kody and Robyn wanted Mary to sign legal documents to prevent her from speaking publicly about certain parts of her time in the family, a move insiders describe as an attempt to buy her silence on matters that could be deeply embarrassing or outright damaging if they ever came to light. The obvious question fans keep asking: what does Mary know that's worth legally silencing? The truth is, no one knows the full scope. Sources hint at potential secrets, past misdeeds, or controversial actions, but the details remain closely guarded. What is certain is that Mary lived through over 30 years of Brown family history, witnessing financial decisions, private conflicts, and intimate moments that were never broadcast to the public. One insider put it bluntly: Mary knows where all the bodies are buried. Metaphorically speaking, that kind of knowledge is powerful leverage in any dispute. Mary's social media has become a playground for speculation. Her posts are alternately cryptic and pointed, with fans reading them as subtle messages aimed squarely at Kody and Robyn. Mentions of karma, truth revealing itself, and the importance of living authentically have been interpreted as quiet threats. Whether intended or not, these posts have created an atmosphere of tension, anxiety, and anticipation for those still in Flagstaff. The financial stakes of Mary's departure may be even higher than the public realizes. As one of the original wives, she could have claims or entitlements that were never fully resolved. Property interests, business stakes, and other financial arrangements don't simply vanish when someone walks away. One legal expert suggested that Mary could potentially pursue claims going back years, or even decades, if she chose to assert them. In that light, the $750,000 home equity line may be less about daily expenses and more like a war chest for a looming legal showdown. And Mary isn't the only ex-wife who could trigger legal complications. Sources suggest that Janelle and Christine also hold leverage, and in some ways, their influence could be even more immediately dangerous to Kody and Robyn's fragile financial and personal stability. Between unresolved contracts, past grievances, and insider knowledge, the remaining Browns may be facing a perfect storm of lawsuits, financial liability, and public exposure, all while scrambling to keep their home and legacy intact. The question now is not if these issues will erupt, it's when and how badly. For Kody and Robyn, the walls are closing in, and every move they make from here on out could determine whether the Browns survive as a family or collapse entirely under the weight of the past. Janelle Brown's ongoing property disputes over the infamous Coyote Pass land are a ticking time bomb that could blow at any moment. What was supposed to be the foundation of the Brown family's Arizona dream has instead become a symbol of everything that went wrong under Kody's leadership. Sources indicate that Janelle still has ownership interests in portions of that land, and insiders suggest she is far from willing to walk away quietly. One source described it as a standoff, neither side willing to budge, leaving the property as a constant reminder of failed promises, broken trust, and Kody's mismanagement. Meanwhile, Christine Brown's transformation into a successful, independent businesswoman has highlighted just how badly Kody mismanaged both his relationships and his finances. While Kody and Robyn are forced to borrow against their home, Christine has built a thriving cooking show, a profitable merchandise line, and a massive social media presence. The contrast is brutal. She flourishes publicly, while Kody flounders privately. One insider remarked that her success is the ultimate revenge, and Kody must watch it unfold every single day. The financial ramifications don't stop there. Speculation about settlements with ex-wives suggests Kody may owe obligations that drain the very limited resources he has left. Unlike standard divorces, dissolving plural marriages requires complex private negotiations. Every unresolved contract, promise, or business arrangement becomes a potential legal landmine. Sources say at least one former wife could have claims to ongoing payments or property interests, obligations Kody has been unable or unwilling to satisfy. The $750,000 home equity line? Insiders hint it may be partially earmarked to cover these financial liabilities, a buffer for battles he may not be able to avoid. Fan theories about unpaid debts may have sounded like speculation, but sources now suggest there's more truth than rumor. Over the years, Kody made promises, financial support, property allocations, business participation, that were never fully delivered. Now, those promises exist on camera as an unusual evidentiary record, potentially working against him if disputes are escalated. The combined pressure from all three former wives is unprecedented. Even modest claims, when combined with legal fees, attorney costs, and court battles, could consume the entire equity line within months. And then there's the household dynamic. Insiders reveal that tension between Kody and Robyn has reached a breaking point. For years, Robyn was the favored wife, seemingly untouchable in Kody's eyes. Now, she has become the target of his frustration as he searches for someone to blame. One source described it as watching Kody finally realize that his choices have consequences and taking it out on the only person left to absorb it. The irony is staggering. The wife who benefited most from his favoritism is now criticizing him for the very behavior that elevated her. Robyn reportedly calls out Kody for alienating his other wives, pointing out that they would still have 4 TLC paychecks if he had treated them with basic respect. Whether this is genuine insight or convenient hindsight, the fact that these conversations are happening signals a dramatic shift in the household dynamic. The balance of power has changed, the stress is visible, and the once unshakable facade of Kody and Robyn's life is fracturing under pressure. The Browns are no longer just a reality TV story. They are a family teetering on the edge of financial collapse, legal exposure, and personal betrayal. And the world is watching. Robyn's children are reportedly feeling the weight of financial uncertainty in ways that are impossible to ignore. The lifestyle they once enjoyed, private spaces, material comforts, social opportunities, may no longer be sustainable. Sources suggest discussions about cutting expenses have created palpable tension with older children who are old enough to understand what's happening but powerless to change it. One insider described it as watching kids realize their parents' decisions are hurting everyone, not just the other wives, but them too. The generational ripple effect of Kody's choices continues to expand, and the youngest Browns are absorbing the consequences. Public appearances and social media sightings of Robyn show a woman visibly stressed, far from the serene, spiritually grounded figure fans once admired. Insiders reveal she now struggles with anxiety about the family's future, finally understanding what the other wives endured, the insecurity of relying on a man who cannot keep his promises. Observers are left asking the same question: can Kody and Robyn's relationship survive this level of pressure? Relationships that formed during times of plenty often collapse under scarcity, and that is exactly what appears to be happening. Conversations about the future have become fraught and hostile, with neither willing to accept responsibility for how they arrived at this desperate point. Kody's response, insiders say, is both predictable and pitiful. Kody Brown's alleged attempts to generate income through business ventures have reportedly led to nothing but repeated failures and embarrassment. From vague social media schemes to undefined consulting opportunities, he jumps from concept to concept without ever creating anything viable. One insider summarized it bluntly: he thinks he deserves success without doing the work to achieve it. And based on his track record, that assessment appears painfully accurate. Even Kody's social media presence reflects his mental state. The man who once demanded attention from multiple wives has become withdrawn from public engagement. Negative comments and criticism allegedly create a feedback loop. Less engagement leads to less visibility, which leads to less income potential. One observer described it as watching someone hide from the consequences of their own actions rather than confronting the root problems. Perhaps most surprisingly, sources claim Kody has been reaching out to former family members, potentially seeking financial assistance or at least a cessation of legal hostilities. The same man who publicly dismissed and demeaned his ex-wives is now allegedly asking for help, expecting forgiveness and support from those he mistreated. Whether these attempts have worked remains unclear, but the mere fact he is making them signals the depth of his desperation. Kody's past public statements now ring with bitter irony. He dismissed wives who questioned him, lectured on loyalty and family unity, and positioned himself as a patriarch who knew best. Yet, his decisions alienated everyone around him, and the record exists for the world to see. One insider noted, "Karma has a long memory, and Kody is finally paying the bill he accumulated over decades." The contrast between his self-image and reality is staggering. In his mind, he remains the head of a family empire. In reality, he is borrowing against his home, facing multiple lawsuits, and watching the one wife left grow resentful of his failures. The $750,000 home equity line may temporarily patch a hole, but it cannot fix decades of mismanagement. Living expenses, legal fees, mortgage payments, and Robyn's reported spending habits could consume $50,000 or more per month. Do the math. That equity line evaporates within 18 months or less. The possibility of losing the Flagstaff home has shifted from theoretical to genuine. Banks don't care about reality TV fame or spiritual beliefs. They want repayment. And real estate experts suggest the Brown property is being watched as a potential distress sale. Even TLC's intervention is uncertain. Ratings are down, The core concept of the show no longer exists, and the network may be evaluating whether further investment is worthwhile. If TLC pulls support, Kody and Robyn lose their primary income source entirely. Speculation about bankruptcy, downsizing, or unlikely reconciliations with former wives has run rampant. Bankruptcy would be particularly humiliating for a family that spent years promoting lifestyle advice to fans. Downsizing would force Robyn to accept a dramatically reduced standard of living, and reconciliation seems nearly impossible given decades of animosity. Yet insiders suggest all options are still on the table because desperation can produce surprising outcomes. The uncertainty extends beyond Kody and Robyn. Adult children must decide whether to help a father who alienated their mothers. Robyn's younger children face futures that may look very different from their expectations. The ripple effects touch everyone connected to the Brown family legacy. The next few months could reshape what remains of this family forever. The collision of legal threats, financial desperation, and fractured relationships seems almost designed to deliver maximum karmic retribution. For decades, Kody assumed his role as patriarch entitled him to resources, loyalty, and deference. He prioritized his comfort and favored wife while dismissing the needs of others. He made promises he could not keep. Now, every one of those decisions is coming back to haunt him simultaneously. Kody and Robyn got what they thought they wanted, a household without the complications of plural marriage. But what they did not anticipate is that removing those complications also removed the income, support systems, and shared responsibility that sustained their lifestyle. One insider summarized it perfectly. You get exactly what you wish for, then realize you should have wished for something else. Robyn, once the favored wife and the reason Kody alienated the others, now finds herself trapped on a sinking ship with a man who cannot provide the life she expected. Christine thrives. Janelle is at peace. Even Mary appears to have found equilibrium. Robyn alone is watching the waters rise around her, tied to the consequences of her choices. The $750,000 equity line is more than just cash. It is a monument to years of mismanagement, favoritism, broken promises, and arrogance. Kody believed he could treat people poorly without consequences. He believed his status shielded him. He believed luck would always bail him out. Now he is learning the hard truth about karma, patience, and the cost of hubris. For viewers who have followed this family for over a decade, one question looms larger than any other. Will Kody and Robyn lose everything, or can they somehow escape the trap they created? The walls are closing in from every direction, and the Brown family saga has entered its most dramatic chapter yet, with an ending that remains completely unwritten.